What's happening, working class hustlers of America and all across the globe? It's your main man, Horace, also known as La Machine. And as always, I got somebody right by my side. It is the lovely Miss Karen. That's my sidekick. Say hello to the working class hustlers if you would for me, please. Thank you.
Hey.
All right, guys, as you saw in the title, we're talking negative feedback. So I'm not going to keep you long, but I want to start out by saying, hey, listen, if you're going to sell on Amazon for any length of time, and if you're going to make this serious, a business, something that, you continue to do, it's going to happen sooner or later, you're going to get that negative feedback. And you know what? It hurts. You know what I mean? It bothers you because these Amazon customers, they can be tough. So what we ended up doing was going into the forums, as we tend to do, talking about, some of the things that come about. That's how we got into this. So I'm going to take you over there. All right. So we'll get that in there. But before we get started, please, if you wouldn't mind, if you get any value out of these videos, please give myself, the lovely Miss Karen, and my producer Jim a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe and share this video. It does more for this channel than you know. Don't cost you nothing but a click. We're all conditioned for that. So let's jump into it. What you'll see here is negative feedback on canceled order. I'm just going to read along, guys. I'm a new seller. However, I received buyer feedback on an order today that was canceled. The feedback was negative, but the order was canceled. So how is it possible to say you received the wrong item when no item was sent? I need this removed. I opened a case that was closed almost immediately, stating Amazon didn't see anything wrong with the feedback. And then, as you can see, you went into all caps in order to yell, it was negative feedback left on a canceled order that was never shipped. For anyone who can help, the case ID is da 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 da. Now, let's start looking at some of the replies, because this is where things get good usually around here. The first one said, if you are not, well, actually it says you are not allowed to create a case for seller feedback. Amazon can suspend your account for that. Use the feedback manager and look if it is removed. Read here. And you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about that, and you'll understand why, because I'm going to give my take on this whole feedback thing, and so is the lovely Miss Karen. But if you click the link that this guy was courteous enough to leave, here's what you're going to notice. Can Amazon remove buyer feedback? As a general rule, Amazon does not remove buyer feedback, even if it is unwarranted or the issue has been resolved. However, there are some situations when Amazon will remove or strike through buyer feedback. In such situations, if your request is granted, the impact of the feedback will be removed from your feedback rating, Following are the scenarios when Amazon will either remove or strike through feedback. Now listen to this, hustlers. Amazon will remove feedback only in the following cases. The feedback includes words commonly understood to be obscene or profane. The feedback includes seller-specific, personally identifiable information, including email addresses, full names, or telephone numbers, things of that nature. Or the entire feedback comment is a product review. For example, the Acme Super widget lacks the sharpness and speed of the Acme Ultra widget. However, if the comment contains both a product review and feedback about your service, we will not remove the feedback. For example, seller's shipping service was very slow, and the Super Acme The Acme Super Widget lacks the sharpness and speed of the Acme Ultra Widget. And as far as striking through the feedback, a lot of times if it was FBA or if you ordered using uh, the buy shipping service, and if it was on them, they'll remove it. I have had that happen, and of course, so has Karen. But back to the comments. Somebody said it won't be removed. Happens all the time. Someone asked, did the customer request to cancel the order? Someone said, yes, Amazon does allow sellers to do this as a way to lower the feedback ratings of competing sellers. So he's suggesting that you have your competition leaving you negative reviews in order to hurt you. I suppose that does happen, but I don't know. Someone said, what I have learned is that this is the cost/risk of doing business on Amazon. The support won't remove it. And you will always have people who throw 1-star reviews on products without having a real issue or knowledge of the product that you are selling. I don't disagree with that. Actually, you know what? At this point, of everything that we've covered so far, Karen, would you have a comment up to this point?
Oh, I just would say that I did not realize that Amazon expressly states they are not going to remove negative feedback. I did not know that. Not that I've tried to get them to do it, but
Okay.
yeah, that's good to know. Just save your time.
All right, so let's go back because guys, we're going to actually go through these, so just sit back. Somebody said, if you cancel their order, then yes, they can leave feedback. It happened to me once. If they canceled it themselves, I don't know. Amazon allows them, I think he wants to say, I don't know if Amazon allows them to still leave feedback. If so, then what another load of malarkey on Amazon's part. Somebody said, unfortunately, it happened to me about a year ago and they did absolutely nothing, meaning Amazon. I think CMOD was helpful in clearing this for another seller. No guarantees, though. I'm thinking this CMOD might be some service you can use to try and help you fight cases, but I don't know. Somebody else said, yep, happened to me before. I clearly told Amazon that the customer themselves asked for it to be canceled, but no luck. Feedback is still there 2 years later. Someone said, probably the best you can do at this point is to respond to the feedback. Keeping it short and polite. When buying, I look not only at the seller's feedback rating, but also the nature of the negative feedback. If I saw your case response, I'm assuming the buyer canceled it, not you. I wouldn't count it against the seller. I know most buyers aren't this careful about who they buy from, but some of us are. Okay, it's not a bad point. Someone said Amazon feedback system is so unfair. They do not care about sellers. Oh, wow. Somebody went into a big one, boy. I don't even know if I want to read this.
It's a lot.
It looks like what this was, if you read the bold, just to get to the point, the seller is saying the buyer is not complaining about anything other than the fact that the bank shows a pending payment. So I guess what his problem was that this person was allowed to leave negative feedback, and the seller never even got the order because the buyer canceled. The order never even went to the seller, and yet they were allowed to leave negative feedback. Guys, stay tuned. I'm going to give my entire take when it comes to negative feedback. Let me see. This guy's interesting. Amazon removes reviews from those they consider bad characters, but nope. As reviews hurt sales and feedback only hurts sellers. Amazon draws the distinction. Absolutely disgusting. Now, I think that's an interesting take right there. That's an interesting take. Let's read that again. Amazon removes reviews from those they consider bad characters. But nope, as reviews hurt sales, feedback only hurts sellers. What they're saying is Amazon is more concerned with dealing with bad reviews because that's going to affect sales on Amazon's platform. Feedback only hurts us, the sellers. So Amazon really ain't caring about that. That is what this guy is suggesting. I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree. I see the point. Let's read the next one. Don't sweat it. Just leave a concise and professional response to the comment as to what happened and your resolution. If the buyer canceled, mention that and if you cancel, the reason why. The intelligent people that actually read the seller feedback will see the customer was a buffoon and you did your best if you leave the right type of feedback. Most buyers on Amazon, however, have trouble hitting the buy now button, let alone read and comprehend a product description. And the feedback is the last thing they read, so it's not as big of a deal as it may seem. Good luck in your Amazon selling journey. You are in for an eye-opening experience. Let me see. Now check this out. Somebody said, I'm sorry about that. The thing is, a person doesn't even have to buy or your item to review it. Anyone with an Amazon account can review any item. In fact, your competition, especially those bad sellers using black hat tricks or tactics, can pay for bot farms in Asia to review your products as many times as they want. Unfortunately, Amazon doesn't take any action against this practice. Amazon's consumer-centric marketing allows customers to do this as they please, while sellers are expected to remain silent and accept it. Now, I think this is one of those cases where you have to distinguish, if he's saying that anybody can review your item, I don't know if feedback versus review, that's two different. I don't know if they're allowed. There's no way that they can leave you feedback if they didn't buy the product, right? I don't know. All right, hang with me, guys. We ain't got much longer to go. Somebody said, we got a negative product review on a product from an order that was canceled and Amazon did nothing about it. Opened several cases. This guy talked about escalating a case. Let's see.
I'm really anxious to hear what you have to say about all of this.
This guy, he's talking about the distinction between whether you as the seller cancel the order or whether the buyer cancels. But check this out. Michelle at Amazon. This is an Amazon representative. She looked at the case. She goes, hello, Michelle at Amazon here. I reviewed the case and your order ID, and unfortunately, the review will not be removed. The only time that a review will be removed for a canceled order is if the customer requested that the order be canceled. If you are the one that canceled the order due to being out of stock or etc., this is a poor customer experience and they are allowed to leave feedback for this type of situation. I know that is not the outcome you were hoping for, but I thank you for understanding. Regards. So looks like as we dig into this, Looks like this seller might have canceled because they were out of stock or something like that. So hustlers, just know that if it's on you, you know, hey, they're gonna allow that negative feedback. But check this out. One person said, "Welcome to the circus." Now read this. Somebody said the buyer rejected a book she ordered when she received it. She said the book was too big. I got zinged for a rejected book. And then finally, this is the last one. Somebody said, same thing happened to us on here early 2022. Negative feedback on a canceled order for a $6 book. Amazon did nothing like always. And then they go on into some other stuff about penny auctions. I'm not sure what that was all about. But if from reading all of the comments in that thread, I would say that the majority of sellers on Amazon kind of have the same sentiment, and that is you're on your own. Amazon is so customer based and centered around the customer, and you, the one that's supplying like 85% of all the products available on Amazon, you are just left to deal with it. There's very little support. Most of it is automated. You're lucky to actually get someone, and in most cases, like you noted, they tell you right off the bat. In most cases, they're just not going to remove it, and that's all there is to it. So now we're going to go into my take on this. All right. So, number one, I've been selling on Amazon a long time. Okay. 2008 is when I started. And if you want to know what my feedback rating is, anybody want to know that? I'm going to look it up real quick. What would you guess, Karen?
I'm afraid right now. This is
don't.
I'm very scared right now.
Don't.
That's all I can say. I'm very scared.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Well, while I look that up, let me just say, anybody that follows my channel, you know, I don't get all that excited about stuff like that. You're gonna get, you know, your negative feedback, whatever. It happens. Now I'm gonna look up my feedback real quick. It is 80% over the last 12 months.
That's not too bad with the volume that you have.
I wonder, I'm looking for my lifetime rating though. Let me see if I can find it. So I'm looking for that real quick. It's probably under performance. I don't know where it is. I'll find it later. I'll get Jim to throw it up on the screen because we're pre-recording this. But at the end of the day, like I said, I just don't get all that. Matter of fact, most of the time, I don't know what my feedback rating is. It does not seem to affect my sales one way or the other. If you got a product that somebody wants, they're going to buy it. Now, obviously, I have to have an account that's healthy enough to maintain the seller account. And I would say, don't worry about it, guys. Some people, they're just wired that way. They tend to fret over everything. If that's you, do what you do. But if you're looking and going, should I even really be worried about this? Hey, I'm telling you, in my experience, it's not all that serious. It has really not affected me. Now, some people might not agree with that. I encourage you guys, To the sellers out there, leave comments. Let me know what you think. What has been your experience with negative feedback? How do you feel about it? And how do you deal with it? Now, let's get the lovely Miss Karen's take on this. What would you say?
A few things come to mind. Uh, well, at least a couple things. Number one, in that scenario, the seller didn't immediately disclose that he or she was the one who canceled the order. And it turns out that did make a difference. So I think we here very early as Amazon sellers try not to cancel orders because I feel as though that could somehow impact the Amazon algorithm in terms of how many sales sort of come your way. I'm not sure about that, but here we see that canceling orders can lead to negative feedback. I mean, if I'm a customer, quite honestly, and I order something and it goes through, then I want the merchandise. That's my expectation. I personally wouldn't leave negative feedback about it, but I can kind of understand where the buyer could be coming from, especially if significant amount of money is tied up as a result and they're not even going to get the product. But getting to the bottom line, I guess what I would say is the reality is if you can't take negative feedback, then you might not want to sell on Amazon because sooner or later it's going to happen. It is absolutely 100% going to happen. And sometimes it's not going to be warranted. It's not going to be anything, that you had any control over. A couple of years ago, the postal system was moving slow motion, and, a lot of sellers got a bunch of negative feedback because of slow delivery. We just can't help that. So, if you're going to do this, you're going to get negative feedback. So that's reality. Now, I'm going to sort of punt it back to you, Horace. I happen to be a person who doesn't do very well with negative feedback. I take it very personal. I find it stressful. And so I have my ways to mitigate the incidence of negative feedback just because I don't like that uncomfortable feeling, whether it's warranted or not. But I'm going to give it back to you and see what else you have to say, and then maybe I'll let everybody know how I handle it.
I wanna hear it because mine is easy. I do nothing. I'm so busy. No, guys, I'm a working class hustler. That means I work a job full time plus overtime, and I do this, and I do, Walmart. I have my own website, and I have other ways. I'm just out here hustling because multiple streams of revenue is the way I go. I ain't got time to be worried about that. I really don't. And I've been in business since April of 2002. I've been online since 2004. And what I've found just being a merchant, being a retailer, customers in general, when they're spending money, if you give them a stage, if you give them a way to express, if you give them, sometimes they'll create one, but certainly if you give them somewhere where they can leave feedback, star ratings, reviews, whatever, if you give them the platform, they got a chance to be somebody. And some of them can be very unreasonable. They seize the opportunity to be important, and they think that spending $1 gives them a pedestal, a soapbox, and they scan. They scan the entire experience. Is there anything that I can complain about? Aha, gotcha. You know what I mean? I've had customers complain because I gave them more than what they paid for. How am I going to eat all these potato chips? You gave me more. That sounds ridiculous, but I'm just giving an example. So I'm just the way I look at customers. You probably wouldn't want to do that because I just look at them a lot of times like, you know what? That's a little dramatic. Um, you want to be somebody today? Yeah, you can be somebody. The cheese doodles busted, the bag break. Okay, here's your money back. Life goes on. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's just how I do it. I'm not telling you to do it anyway. I'm just telling you. I don't I don't stress over it. Uh, I see no benefit to stress. I certainly don't, because a lot of customers they're astute enough and they're thinking, hey, I can hurt this guy. If I leave negative feedback, 10 times the number of people will read that versus good. Most of these customers don't even have anything to say when everything goes right. But let one thing go wrong and they seize it. Hey, that's just been my experience. But you know what I love? I love just going on about my life without a care in the world. So that's my take. How do you deal with it, Miss Karen?
Well, so uh, a couple of things that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking that number one, it makes sense. It's probably good business to read feedback. Now, most of it, negative feedback, most of it probably is in fact baseless, but sometimes you can get some real good information. So if your product is consistently getting negative feedback because it's arriving damaged, then you might want to modify how you're doing your packaging. Simple enough. I mean, and so in that way, they're being helpful to you to help ensure that more of your customers are satisfied. But I have to say, I negative feedback completely stresses me out. So it stresses me out. It bothers me. And so I know that. And that's the beauty of this business. So if you merchant fulfill items, then any negative feedback that hits your account is very, very, very likely going to stay there, and that's it. And so that makes me extremely selective about the items that I merchant fulfill. For instance, if Amazon policy says that the expiration date has to be, uh, uh, equivalent to the number of days of servings of an item or better. Let's just say there's 30 servings and the item would probably expire 30 days from when the customer would receive it. I would never merchant fulfill that because there's too much of a chance that the customer would get it. And even though I would have followed policy, Amazon's policy, they're likely going to complain and say, I can't get my cheese doodles. I can't eat an 8-ounce bag of cheese doodles in 30 days. So that's problematic. So I'm very selective, number one, about what I merchant fulfill. If I merchant fulfill it, I'm feeling pretty certain that that item is going to arrive in pristine condition and there should not be any problem. But the other thing that I do, quite honestly, is for a variety of reasons, not just to mitigate negative feedback, is I do fulfilled by Amazon. Now, any item that is fulfilled by Amazon, anything FBA, when you get negative feedback, for some reason, they strike through it.
and
Period. They
and they
strike
do
through.
it.
It doesn't
They
count
do it,
against you.
and they do it automatic a lot of times before you
They will.
even.
They do it automatic oftentimes, and if they don't, if you look at it, if you see that you got a feedback, you can click and say, "Oh, wait a minute, this was fulfilled. This order was fulfilled by you, Amazon," and they will strike through. And I've had it happen even when, in retrospect, I think, "Oh, wait a minute, did I put the wrong label on the wrong box? Therefore, the customer got the wrong thing." Probably so. Probably was my fault. However, because it was fulfilled by Amazon, there's a strike through. But again, if you are not rattled by feedback, it really wouldn't matter one way or another. But I just happen to be fairly easily rattled and lose sleep at night about those kinds of things. So to thine own self be true. If you can
Mhm.
take it for what it is, knowing that negative feedback likely is not going to negatively impact your sales. La Machine, I really don't think it's really negatively impacted your sales, because your sales have been off the charts. Um, hey,
Well,
but also your numbers are not, your negative feedback is not that great. So you
well,
don't get that many.
well. Wait a minute. Okay, so I found over. So it goes like this. For the last 3 months, I've had 83%, and I'm saying 83% were 5-star ratings. For the last 12 months, only 73% have been 5-star ratings. Now,
Oh.
if we go lifetime, 85% have been 5-star, 4-star 7%, 3-star 3%, 2-star 1% lifetime has been 2-star, and 4% has been 1-star. So customers, they give me more. If they're gonna give it to me, they're gonna give it to me. Because out of three, 2 and 1, it goes 3%, 1%, 4%. So and just to give you guys an example of my last 5 uh ratings, okay? I had a 5-star on January the 18th, 2024. 5 stars. It says everything was just as described and expected. Okay, January 11th, 2024, I had 5 stars. It said when I paid for my selection, I got my selection on the time they gave to me. January 1st, 2024, 1 star. I was supposed to have 3 boxes, but I only received one. Now, see, he didn't tell you he got his other 2 boxes. Oh, trust and believe. The guy that's going to leave you that rating, he gonna get what he paid for. So guess what? He gets what he paid for, and he lives in the same world we live in. Mistakes happen. It's okay when he makes the mistake. You make the mistake, and guess what? You gonna give him what he paid for, and he gets to leave you a negative review. Okay? He makes a mistake. Well, we live in an imperfect world. That's what I'm talking about.
I got a negative review absolutely because there was 3 items. I was supposed to ship 3 items, and I shipped one, and then later on that evening, after I'd gone to the post office, I realized, oh, wait a minute, this was supposed to be a 3-pack. So I put the other 2 and paid for additional postage to send
Mm-hmm.
it, and it went into the mail the very next day. So they probably arrived just about the same time. Got a negative review saying, "Why did this arrive in two
You
shipments?"
see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about.
I
That
paid
customer,
extra to make sure.
you probably lucky if you broke even because the margins could have been so slim. that by you
Absolutely.
having
I
to do
probably
that,
lost money. I probably lost money because it was a
customer
small
said,
item.
customers looking, is there anything I can complain about?
It was like chapstick or something.
I got everything, but I got it in two. Well, that's good enough. I can complain about that, leave a negative review, hopefully hurt the seller in some way, shape, or form. And if it's Karen, at least I know I made her feel bad.
Listen,
Now,
I was so upset. I was so undone.
so here's what happened. The customer got everything that they paid for and got to make you feel bad. And
That's right.
everybody's conditioned to say poor customer because the customer's always right. No, they ain't. That's a whole nother discussion. But if any of you want to have it, leave a comment. There's this saying in America, the customer's always right. I say no. No. And I'm ready. I wish we had a hustler that wanted to have that discussion. Bring you on as a guest. Bring it. But
Negative reviews is just part of the process. And you know, you don't hear anybody on the net really talking about that, but it is. It's part of the process. It's just part of the business.
I had a review. I had 5 stars on December 28th, 2023, and all it said was great. And December 27th, 2023, I got a 1 star, and it said stale chips that's nothing but crumbs because apparently they were smashed before shipping. That's right.
How do they know that?
You know what I did? I stomped on them. And then I put them in the package.
Because you like negative feedback. You're looking for a way to get that, right? Or you thought the customer wouldn't notice, right?
I didn't stomp on them. I stomped on them. Okay?
You figured they wouldn't notice if they were
because I thought everything would go all right if I did.
Crumbs.
You know, this is what I do. Stomp on chips. Stomp on stale chips and then send them.
And you know what's even worse? They don't even, a lot of times. Now, let me ask you about this. Do you include a card or something that says, if there's any issue, please contact me first? I buy a lot of things from Amazon personally, and very often there's a card in there that says, you know, if you have any issue, please contact us. See, I don't want them to contact me. I don't want to have a conversation about it.
I don't put nothing in there except they get the packing slip, and that could be, I like a packing slip in there for their reference. I like a packing slip and an extra shipping label in case for some reason it comes open. Postal workers, UPS, FedEx, if they can look and see, okay, here's another label, seal it back up, slap it on, out the door. If they don't see nothing, that package is lost. So that's all I put in there. I put the packing slip, I put an extra shipping label, and it's out the door.
Okay, I put no packing slips and no extra labels, but I have very small, very few merchant fulfill orders, and that's why.
Okay. All right, hustlers. So once again, make sure if you have anything of value to add, if you just want to add your opinion, we want to hear it. So please leave comments. And once again, make sure you subscribe. Give us, myself, the lovely Miss Karen, and our producer, Jim, a nice thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share. And if there's anything we can do for you, text the words Working Class Hustler to the number on your screen, or you can find it down in the description. And yes, I will respond myself. Not a robot, not artificial intelligence. It will be me. And we can help you with anything you need. This is absolutely free of charge. As a matter of fact, I had 2 people reach out just yesterday. We're coordinating when they get off work or whatever, and then we can address whatever issues they have. One person just cannot find anything to sell, and I can't wait to be able to show this person what they can do, even though they're gated in so many categories and brands. Guys, we can do it. And that's what we're here for. So do take advantage. On that note, we are out of here. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Okay, see you next time.